Hey everyone, welcome back to Alchemy Zero Phase. This is Eric. This will be the third video in the series where we are going into some of the details about XeroGen Forge, my online prompt and image generation platform. The last one we talked about prompt generation, manipulating your prompts, enhancing them, coming up with ideas, inspiration, that kind of thing. And in this one we are going to go into the advanced image generation settings and describe in detail more about how to use this to manipulate your images, to even generate images, and just have fun with your AI image generation. Just as kind of a precursor to this, a lot of you might be asking, why did you do this when we can just use Automatic 1111, Comfy UI? And I get it. A lot of people love using those platforms. I love using the Web UI Forge, which is a lot like Automatic 1111. The one thing I noticed, though, the longer I used it, was that I was getting really tired of going back and resetting settings to get something and having to jump around the interface to do specific things that I was having to do repeatedly. A lot of that dealt with Inpainting. And so what I made it my goal with this website was to create something that made it a lot quicker, easier, and even a little funner to work this into your workflow so that you can get things done faster. That's why I do the prompt generation, because I don't like having to really come up with the prompts myself. I just like being able to specify a couple of basic things. You know, we'll say forest, sunset, pond, duck. And we'll generate 6 prompts from that. And then I wanted to be able to have a quick interface for being able to specify the ratio. Let's generate an image off that. And there we got a nice little image. We're going to stretch that out so you can see it. Okay. So here we have a fairly low res image. That's not bad. The cool thing about this is I can go back and generate it again. Now let's try this other prompt. I'll see what it gives me. This is a medium format photography. Maybe that's what I want. Something that's photographic instead. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Okay, so we have a great image here. But I want to add some more characteristics to this. Specifically, maybe another duck sitting down here in the palm, or a goose, or something else. And so I have the option of bringing that over here. Let's say we want to do some inpainting. Let's go over the interface real quick. I know I did this in the first video, but we're going to go in a little more detailed. So for those of you who do image generation, AI image generation, you're familiar with using a positive prompt and a negative prompt. Positive prompt is what you want to see in the image. Negative prompt typically tends to be the opposite. A lot of the times you don't even need this anymore. I know with SDXL, the images tend to come out better when you don't use a negative prompt. So you can pick your model. We have 1.5 models, 2.1, SDXL, SDXL Lightning models, and we've even added some Pony models as well that you can use to generate images. You have your samplers you can pick from. Not going to go into detail on that. If you're familiar with Stable Diffusion, you can read up on that, or you might know about it and how the sampler is used to interface with the model, and it changes how it renders the image a little bit. You have your aspect ratios. I've tried to include a bunch of preset aspect ratios, but you do have the ability to enter custom aspect ratios. This gets a little fun when you want to do, say, super wide format stuff. Let's say we do a 20 by 5, and we want a, I don't know, let's just leave it on that. Let's just generate that, and I'll show you what I mean. Should generate it pretty quick. There you go. Something that's nice, wide format. We could get even narrower. Maybe you want to make something that's a banner for your web page or something like that. It's kind of forcing the duck down into the water. Anyway, it just gives you the option of doing that. So let's jump back here to this one. I like that image. Okay, so this is a pretty low res image. I'm going to upscale that and then we'll start working with it. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go over here to Inpainting first. We're going to drag this image over here to the drop area here. This will put it into our working canvas. Open this up a little bit, change the scale so we can see it a little bit better. And as you can see, it's kind of dark. That's because we have an overlay over it that allows you to mask out areas that you want to work with. And you have your reset button, which will reset it. So for right now, though, I just want to upscale it. So I have a one button upscale feature where you can just click the button and it starts the process of upscaling that image. And this is not doing a quick upscale. If you're familiar with, again, with Stable Diffusion or the Automatic 1111, they have in their Extras tab an upscaler that just does a really quick upscale. But the problem is it tends to smear and things are, you lose a lot of detail. This is utilizing what's called the Ultimate SD upscale feature with the ControlNet tiling. So it's taking that image, it's breaking it up and rendering these chunks in smaller chunks and adding detail to it and actually giving you a better looking image. So we can bring that over here, open that up, okay. The duck in the original image was not that detailed in the first place, but it did do a great job of adding detail around here. So what we're going to do is take this image now, we're going to send it to the canvas. And I want to, so I didn't change the brush size since the last time. You'll notice it's a little smaller. We're just going to do this, okay? And we're going to change the fill mode. Fill will erase whatever's there and re-render whatever you put in the description over here, okay? When you hit upscale, it actually does create a description for you, okay? As you can see, it actually created a description of this image. It's using my image analyzer, because upscaling works a lot better when it does have a description to work with. If I didn't put anything in here and did the upscale, it kind of smooths things out a little bit. It's a little interesting. It's not adding the detail because it doesn't know necessarily what to put in. So we can take this out though, and we are going to put in a description of the duck. This is a, I don't know, it looks like a mallard. I'm not a duck aficionado, but we're gonna say photograph of a duck. I'm not sure how else to describe it. Say mallard duck. I don't know if it's a mallard duck. And what this is going to do, we've masked out this area. It's going to create this square area around this and re-render that at 1024 by 1024. We are going to increase the steps to 20. It tends to be a good area so you don't end up with any seams. And we don't need to mess around with too much of anything else. We're not dealing with something super small, so we don't need to worry about the in-paint padding. The fill mode, we do want to keep this duck. So we're going to go to original, and we're going to use something called denoise strength. Denoise strength, when it's high like this, is basically telling the AI you're giving it a lot more freedom to change whatever's there. When you have it really low like this, anything below like 4.4, it's not going to change a lot. It might add some details, and that might be where we want it. In this particular instance, because we're using original on this, we're going to do 0.6 and see if it gives us more detail on this. If I use fill, I would want this all the way up at 1, and what it does, it erases whatever's there, re-renders that area with our description, giving us something else. It might be a completely different duck. So we're going to use original, okay? We're going to use denoise strength about 0.6, leave everything else the same. We're going to hit generate, come down here, it sends that to the back end, generates just the masked area, and we should get something that looks hopefully a lot better. Oh yeah. So let's bring that over here. I'll show you. See how it blended in nicely? There's no seams. We have a ton more detail in the feet, the feathers, the head is a lot better. So yeah, you know, the reason I upscale this beforehand is because then you have more pixels to work with as well. It allows you to add that extra level of detail. So if you get something you like, you can click keep. It sends it over to the image management window, or you can send to canvas, and that puts it up here, resets the mask. And from here, we can start working on other things. So let's add something. So I want to add another duck right here. So we're going to take this, we're just going to add a little area right here. And we're going to add a little more to the description. Floating on water. We're going to change this fill mode to fill, which will erase whatever's there and re-render it. And everything else can stay this. Oh, when we switch to fill, again, remember we need to put this up to 1, or else you end up with some faded, it doesn't look good. We'll just say that. We'll hit generate on that. Typically, every generation after your initial inpainting will be a little quicker. So let's see what it does here. There we go. Oh, that's not bad. That works well. I kind of figured it would because there was already a ripple there. And it kind of fit to have that in there. So yeah, that's not bad. Even has the reflection in there. Did a good job with that with the rippling effect. That looks great. Here's something a little more complex that we can do. Let's say in the background back here. If you look back here, some trees and stuff. And maybe we want to have like a, I don't know, a deer or a moose back here. So this gets a little interesting. Because you're dealing with a depth of field effect, you need to make sure you give the AI plenty of context about the image. So we're going to go like this. I'm going to put that back there. Try not to overlap the duck's wing. And then we're going to change the brush size here because we're going to need to probably adjust that. But what we're going to do is come down here to Inpaint Padding. This basically tells the image generator to add more of the image into to include more of the image as context to the area it's going to be changing. That way the AI says, oh, hey, look, we're dealing with like something that's out of focus. And so I'm going to bring this up to, what do we got here, maybe 90, 91, whatever. Let's just see what that does. And we're going to put in here to the description, photograph of a moose in the background. Out of focus. We're going to have that because we need to give it as much help as possible with this. It is doable and it will look good. I've done this several times, so hopefully this work pops out the first time. If not, we can mess with it. Give it a few seconds. There we go. So we do have something back in there. Maybe we don't need the padding as much. So we're going to generate that again. This is what's nice about this interface is I can iterate on this very quickly. Yeah, it didn't quite do it on that, so we're going to bring that padding down more. Anyway, I can iterate through this quickly, as where in another interface I may not be able to as quick. I'm having to go back, scroll down menus to try and adjust some of these settings. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted. Got ourselves a kind of a moose in the background there. It's hard to tell if it's a female moose. I don't know. Doesn't matter, but we got something in the background. Looks good. I like it. Okay, so that's how you can kind of go in and manipulate images that way. Now, we're going to introduce you to some other tools. So that's the inpainting aspect. There are options here for accessing ControlNet features. This gives you the ability, like, let's say this duck isn't quite the color we want right here. So let's come down here. Let's change the brush size. Okay. We like the shape of the duck. We like where it's flying, that kind of thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to change this to a goose. We're going to say photograph of a white goose in flight. We're going to come down here. We've enabled ControlNet, Canny. We're going to leave it on that, and we're going to hit Generate. And I'll show you what this does. This is one of the nicer features. You can use this when changing clothing on people, colors, and things like that while maintaining that same object. It does take a little bit longer because it's having to engage with the ControlNet and load up a separate model for that. And there you go. We've gone from a duck to a goose. And you can control the strength of that on how well it maintains that shape by adjusting the control weight. Let's bring it all the way down to 0.4. We'll generate again. And as you can see, it gave a little more leeway to the overall shape of the creature that we were working with. Okay, so that's what Canny can do. Open pose, if you're working with people, will allow you to maintain the same position of a person while changing the person. Soft edge, it's kind of like canny, but what it does, it generates it finds all the edges and gives a little bit of leeway to the overall shape of whatever those objects are. Scribble, you can import an image that you say drew, and let's say you drew it, and it will take that and generate an image from a drawing. Same with sketch. Sketch kind of does the same thing. And then depth will create a depth map of your image and re-render the image using that depth map. Kind of cool functions. So what we're going to dive into now is some recent feature additions that I've really enjoyed. We're going to come over here. We're going to generate some different images using people. So let's come over here and let's just do photograph of a, I don't know, man and woman on a beach. Actually, let's just do, a woman on a beach. Wearing, I don't know, sundress. Let's get an image of that. We may switch this over to a different aspect ratio, but let's see what it does. Okay, so we have our image. I didn't need 20 steps on that, or SDXL, I could have had that down at 8 and rendered it quicker. But okay, so we have our image. Pretty standard stuff. If you were to open this up, her face, it may not be perfect in the sense eyes are a little off. AI tends to do that with images. Hands are a little weird. And we're not dealing with a high-res image either. So I could have enabled high-res fix. It would have generated this at a higher resolution. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let's just re-render this. We're going to do a high-res fix. Now I can enable a detailer, which will fix the faces as well. But I'm going to show you something you can do later here. So let's generate that one. Okay, so we got an image here. I actually went back to the original prompt. The other one was just people walking and it only showed their feet. So we have this image. It is now high res. It did add some detail. The face being as close as it is pretty decent. But there are details that could be added and changed. And this will be a great example. So what we're going to do is come over here to image first. We're going to drop that into our little drop area here. Get our image in there. Let's open it up all the way here. And now we have the ability to adjust some features. So let's say we want this to be a, I don't know, let's say a Southern Belle woman with freckles. So now we have an option. This is kind of like the A detailer down here. That you can enable and it'll fix the face. But here we have a lot more control over it. We select faces, it will detect the face, and we can actually specify the intensity of how we want it to change. And this is the positive prompt that will affect just that. So let's increase the effectiveness on this, because at 0.4, it's meant to just try and correct and add some details to the face. If we go up to like 0.6, it will start to take this into more of an account and make some changes to it. So let's hit fix on that, and we'll let it run through and do that. It just takes about 30 seconds or so. Okay, got finished there. And as you can see, we now have somebody who looks a little more southern and added some freckles to her face. And let's say we like that, so we're going to send that to the canvas. Always send to the canvas, because if you try re-rendering, you'll lose that change. And let's say we want to give her, right now she looks like she has maybe some kind of brown eyes. It's hard to tell. So we're going to come up here, we're going to select eyes. And we want to change this to maybe a deep blue eyes with long eyelashes. Do the same thing. We're going to turn the intensity down just a little bit. Turn it all the way up. I mean, you're going to end up with some really blue eyes. Go to 0.5 and do the same thing there. We're going to hit fix. It jumps out, sends the image. detects the eyes. Essentially how these A detailers work is really cool. So detects the eyes, re-renders that utilizing the Inpainting model that I like using, and then sends the image back to us, and we should end up with a person that looks the same but has blue eyes. And there we go. So if you want to look at it a little closer, hit keep, puts it over here, and it gave her some blue eyes, freckles and everything. Now here's where this gets fun. Let's say you don't want this person, but you like the overall image. Let's go to whole person, and we're going to change this to a, I don't know, what kind of a person we want to put there. Let's say we want a beautiful Native American woman in blue dress. And we're doing whole person. We're going to up this a little bit, maybe 0.65. Let's see what that does. And hit fix. So what this is going to do is it's going to detect just the person. It's going to create a mask for the person. And it's only going to inpaint that area with our description. And depending on how much we increase the intensity, the effect becomes even more obvious. And there we go. So as you can see, similar shape. Even the hair is fairly similar in the way the wind is blowing it. We have somebody who is more of a Native American heritage. Let's say we want to change that to something else. Let's say, I don't know, I've tried doing really weird things like alien and other things, but that doesn't tend to work too well. Let's say Asian woman. And come down here. And there we go. Now, like I said, we can increase this effect. Let's take it all the way up to 1. See what that does. Should be just about done. There we go. That actually worked out really well. Basically the same pose, but more emphasize the dress. Face is a lot more well defined. Yeah, works out really well that way. Okay. And again, with these other things, you can do a lot of other stuff. Watermark will detect watermarks and actually remove them. Let's say we want her to have green eyes. We're going to bring that effect down just a little bit. Oh, I forgot to add the image up here to the canvas. So instead it took this image and added green eyes to that. But as you can see, it works. Okay. So this works on images that have multiple people in them as well. Let's say we come over here. We're going to do photograph of a couple of people. Standing on a city street. We're going to leave the aspect ratio. Actually, let's change it to a, where is it? 5x4. Generate that. It is going to do a high-res fix on it this time, so we should get an image that's fairly well detailed. Okay, I think this is actually a perfect picture for what we want. We've got a couple people in the center. We do have some people in the background. It will probably detect those, but we're going to mostly focus on these two in the center here. So let's grab this. We're going to come over here, drop them in here, change that scale and go up all the way here. Oops. So we can do individual inpainting on this and get similar effect to utilizing these, but we'd have to do them one at a time. When we are working with groups of people, we can do this, change the effect back down to like 0.4 or 0.35. We're not going to do that. We're just going to leave it as is. We're going to fix the faces. So if we look at this, you can see kind of how the faces are right now. We're going to do the fix face. It'll go in, it will detect anybody in the scene. It's we'll see if it detects the people in the background. There's really no faces that are visible, but it's pretty good at understanding that there are shoulders and a head there, so it may try to look at that, but we'll see. Okay, so we got, oh, not yet, not quite done yet. When there's multiple faces, it can take longer as it goes through each face to fix each face. So we're talking maybe an extra 5 seconds per face. Okay, let's throw that over here so you can see a comparison. So here's, oops, the first one. Let's open this up. So if you scroll, you can see that there is a difference. It's rendered the face and added more detail, aligned things better. If they were smiling, it would have fixed their teeth. Okay. Let's bring that back over here. Let's go ahead and send that to the canvas. Now what we can do, let's say we do want them smiling. Man and woman smiling. Increase the effect. We're going to leave it on faces and hit fix. Yes, I realize I spelled man wrong, but the AI is pretty smart. There we go. Now we have a couple smiling. So we have a man and woman smiling. Just throw that over here. I want to see. So not bad. Okay. We could do whole person on this. It gets a little more difficult if you want to just manipulate one person. It's better to use Inpainting with the ControlNet enabled, or even using the original fill mode. If you're using, let's say we do a whole person, just to show you what I mean here. It's kind of hard to describe two people on a single prompt when it's going to go through each one individually and correct them. So I would say, we'll say a young man dressed in clown outfit. It's going to be a radical change, so we want to have quite a bit of this up here, or maybe all the way, but we'll see. So what that's going to do, it's going to detect each and every person it sees in the scene, which may include these people back here, and it's going to change them based on the prompt we have here. So this is going to get very interesting. So I had a quick look at the back end to see how many characters or people it detected, and it detected 11. And it's about halfway through right now. So this is what I mean when using whole person with multiple people in the image can get a little iffy. As you can see, we got some clowns in the background because it detected those people. It re-rendered a couple of other people here because they're in focus and they shouldn't be. But yeah, so that's kind of what I mean. So what we would do if we wanted to change just this person, I'll show you real quick. See what our mask looks like. Like this. We're just going to do him. And it's okay that we overlap her a little bit. The AI is pretty intuitive when it comes to this stuff. And we're going to take this, put it over in here because this is what we're going to be working with. And we are going to do, I think we're going to enable ControlNet, and we're going to enable Open Pose to maintain that same pose. Okay, we'll leave it on fill because we want to replace what's there and put our description there. Now we're going to hit generate. Okay, I think it's done, and there you go. That allows you to manipulate individual items in an image, especially if you're going to be dealing with this stuff up here, the different fixes. Maybe you have multiple people in there. You want to fix all their faces first, but then go in individually and paint each one and change each one to be a different person, maybe, okay? Or add objects or different things into the scene. So we could go into this and maybe we want to fix their, or there's a watermark or something we want to get rid of, we can do that. And that actually works pretty well. I was really surprised. That was a happy find to find that a detailer that does that. I'm not saying you should be going and removing watermarks. Wink, wink. Anyway, so let's see, what else could we go into here? Hold on. Okay, maybe just a few more things. So the upscale option, I've already talked a little bit about that and shown what it can do. Right now, this image that we are looking at is 2048 by however tall, probably like 1100 something or whatever. And the upscale, each time you click this, doubles that image resolution. With this image we have here, it will double it to 4000, 2048, so it was 4096, and then it would allow us to double it one more time, taking it to its maximum resolution of about 8000 by whatever the height would be. So basically an 8K image. The system is designed to never allow you to generate anything larger than that. Excuse me, I should say upscale past that. So once you get that 8K image, you're not going to be able to upscale past that. And I thought about this. I'm like, how would they be able to get around this? Because initially I set it to detect, things above 8. If it's above 8K, don't let them double it. But let's say you bring in an image that is, I don't know, just 8,000 pixels. And try doubling that, it would take it to 16,000 by whatever, which is just going to be more than what we want web browsers to handle. And so basically, if an image is 4096 or less, it'll allow you to double it one more time. Okay. If it goes above 4096, just doesn't allow you to double it. What else? So the splitter functionality. Let's come back over here. We'll get rid of this. This is actually, I've got this on GitHub. Allows you to take an image, specifically image grids. Say you have a grid that's 5 images by 3 images. Maybe it's a character design sheet or something like that, and they're evenly spaced grid items. You can bring this in here, specify the number of images across, number of images down. Hit, drop the image in here, hit process. It goes through, it splits each of those individual images, maintaining the aspect ratio, and then resizes each one to the specified resolution here, or you can specify up to 12,288 pixels on the long side. Again, maintaining the aspect ratio. Takes those images, compresses them into a zip file, and sends it to, so you can download it. It just basically starts a download. And this was just something that was nice to have when doing those character sheets. People wanted to be able to quickly split the images and be able to process them by resizing and that kind of thing. Cool tool to have. So for right now, that's about what I got on the image generation side. There's a lot of features here. You just have to go through and kind of explore it and see what you think. Anyway, we'll see you in the next video.